Mike. Hi, everyone. I'm going to wait for a few people to join. Make sure we are recording. Oh, yeah. Okay. And share screen. How's everyone doing today? Thank you guys so much for coming in today. Okay, just give me a quick, let me know if you guys can see my screen. Okay, I'll put this up here. Okay. And bear with me too, because I haven't used Zoom in a hot second. So, there we go. Okay. Can you guys all see my screen on the webinar? Yes, perfect. Okay. Do you just let me know too if you can see my notes, then I've done something wrong. Okay, perfect. So, how are you guys all feeling today? Let me know in the comments, and then we'll get started in a couple minutes once a few more people join. Hello, hello. Thank you guys all for showing up today. I'm excited to show you guys just a little taste of what I do in my business. And this is something that I have been struggled. I've been on the struggle bus with chaos or I was on the struggle bus with chaos for a really long time with my business. And it wasn't until I kind of had to figure a few things out and let go of a few bad seeds that I kind of finally got it and realized that it's really all in the systems. And I'm guilty of not knowing what a system was for the longest time. I don't know if anyone ever has felt that, but I was definitely there that everyone kept saying the word systems and you need systems, and it was not resonating at all with me. But once you break it down and you kind of get a few things set in place, you can really start to rely on those systems for your business and kind of use them as like a back pocket support system. We even had to kind of rely on it the other day when we had a client throw a blanket at one of my employees. She called her some nasty words and got pretty mean. And that's where our systems kind of came in place of how we handled that client, and ultimately firing that client. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever been in that situation, but it happens unfortunately quite often where clients are not very friendly, sadly. We can't appease everybody, even though we want to. So we'll probably, yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. And then as people join in, as far as questions go, I'm going to take some throughout, but we'll primarily take questions towards the end. Um, Hopefully I'm breaking this down seamlessly where you guys can all understand it pretty easily. But let me know at any point if you need me to slow down or you need any kind of clarification on anything. I've got the chat up here so then that way I can see if you guys have any questions going into it. Okay, so a little bit about me, because I know some of you probably found me on TikTok or saw that video that I posted that kind of got a little, I'd say mini viral. But if you guys don't know me, my name is Bryce Seckler. I'm now Bryce Seckler Foster as of a couple weeks ago. So I have been in this industry for 10 years. I've been doing lashes for 10 years and permanent makeup for 7 years. And then I have owned my salon, Unstrip Lash and Brow Bar, for the last 6 years. I also, if you can see this image behind me, this is my fanning method, the unstripped method. We're not going to be talking about this today, but if that's something that interests you, feel free to reach out and let me know. But this is kind of one of the things that I developed 10 years ago and created to help me go a lot faster in my services. And we're not necessarily talking about speed today, but we are going to be talking about running a business efficiently because I am a true believer in living in efficiency and how that can bring more profit to your business. So, I kind of wanted to create this program because I have been in your guys' shoes, and I will show you what that looks like. So, I have been there where I, one, started as an employee at a chain lash salon where we were forced to do 10 clients a day, and we weren't really given any instruction. We weren't really given any education as far as that goes. And it was just really frustrating because that's kind of what led to creating the unstrict method. I had to find another way. And I wasn't really taught business in beauty school. I don't know if anyone ever feels that way, that beauty school really didn't teach you that much, unfortunately. But in beauty school, it was really just get what you need to pass the test. And you kind of have to figure out along the way to how to build your business. And I opened my salon when I was 21. So what I kind of fell into was that I thought renters was the way to go. And we're not just going to be talking about salon owner stuff, but I will kind of do a call out. Let me know in the chat how many of you guys are solo, if you're a salon owner, or if you're wanting to be a salon owner, just so I can kind of gauge the conversation this next hour. Um, but when I opened my salon, I was like, oh, you have to have renters, and that's going to make the most sense. So I did that. And I realized, with renters comes that you're still stuck behind the chair. You're still working in your business. You're still having to make all the money and not really be left with that much left because you're having to buy toilet paper. You're having to do the cleaning supplies. And unfortunately, in a lot of situations, you're also having to take care of all the maintenance of the salon because your renters are not getting paid to clean for you. So they typically don't always. Um, yeah, looking to get my own storefront and hire my first employee. I love that. So hopefully this will guys will help you. But also just help you as a solo artist too, that it really makes a difference to understand your KPI, which is your key performance indicators and your numbers. And it's just going to help you become a better leader so that in the future, if you want to become a salon owner or have staff or even just scale your own business, you'll have the tools to do so. But kind of back to that story is that what I realized is then I started hiring employees, but I also had renters at the same time. And that wasn't really a good mix because when you have both, things get confusing, things get muddied. The employees are having to clean, but the renters are not doing anything. And then there becomes lost trust. There becomes a lot of situations where there's people feeling a type of way. Um, and at that time too, I mean, you can see in this image, my revenue last year around October was 13,000 for my entire salon. That was me having two renters and one employee. Now I have two employees and myself. I don't work as much anymore as I used to. And we're on track to bring in about, I'd say like 20, 23 or 24,000 because October's not over yet. So you can see that that's about a $10,000 growth just from having the right systems in place, how we talk to our clients, how we upsell our clients, and all that kind of stuff. So the main goal is like, how can we avoid that burnout, the wanting to quit, knowing that we have to change something, but we don't know what because all of our money just keeps disappearing. So what I did is I ended up firing my entire team. I say around end of December last year, early January. So I got rid of my renters. I fired my first employee because she never showed up to work. She actually called out 200 times on me. And it was one of those situations where I'm like, I just got to get rid of all of them. And I know that sounds really harsh, but the renters were kind of already on their way out anyways. And it was my opportunity to finally let go of my first employee. And then I went and hired two new girls who are actually motivated. They love the business, they love our brand, they love the values, they're participating and they want to be involved. And it's sometimes about hiring the right people. Yes, 200 times. I let that go for a long time because I didn't know how to lead. So that's what I'm hoping to show you guys today because that was a rough one. So to kind of get into it of what we're actually covering today, and you're going to kind of see that I'm giving you guys a taste of what, if you guys have been kind of looking at my emails or following along, I will be coming out with a full-on program called Chaos to Clockwork. It's going to be a 5-week program all through December every Monday. And we're going to kind of dive deeper into the stuff in the program. I'm only taking 15 people, but hopefully today you guys can get a lot of value and a lot of knowledge on how to kind of move forward with your business. So, as far as today, we're going to break down some pricing clarity. So, put in the chat if you guys are pricing by hour or if you guys are pricing by service, just so I can kind of gauge a few things. Perfect. I love to see hourly. Okay. Great. So if you guys are already pricing by hour, quite a few of you are. Some of you aren't. So I'm a big believer in pricing by hour just because it really breaks down every 15 minutes. And we're going to kind of break down the math today just to show you. So if you're not priced, if you are already pricing by hour, hopefully you'll get a few little tools. If not, I highly encourage you to change your pricing ASAP because the moment I did this early this year was the moment that we actually profited. We weren't profiting for a really long time. Now we average about 5K a month. So it is a huge difference in just seeing how much it actually costs you to be open an hour. And even if you are pricing by hour currently, you could be miscalculating every month or you may have to adjust it. So we're going to cover that today. We're also going to cover some of my time-saving salon systems, how we can run on Clockwork rather than chaos, because I have been in chaos and it is not fun. And then how to scale with leadership and leading ourselves, because I think that that is something that personally took me a long time to figure out is I was wanting other people to be held accountable, but I didn't know how to hold myself accountable. And I kept failing my team because I was failing myself and I was letting things slip through the cracks. I was not confident. I was all those kinds of things. And hopefully we can help you with that today. So hopefully you'll be able to walk away with at least 3 actionable takeaways. And let's kind of get into the nitty gritty. So again, let me know if I'm going way too fast for you guys as well. But if you are feeling like how many of you guys feel overworked and underpaid? Right? We've all been there. We've all felt it. And maybe we're just needing that pricing structure. We need something that makes sense for us. A lot of the times, like I was there too, and I'm going to get kind of vulnerable with you guys, is that I was looking at my bank account constantly. Like over the last 6 years, I was wondering why we were always breaking even. Now, we weren't necessarily in the red, but some months we were. But a majority of the time we were breaking even. And I'm like, I don't understand what's happening. I see that my bank account goes up and then it goes back down. And I can't break through the threshold of being able to actually save. And I kept wanting to get out of my location and get a bigger location. And it was never possible because I didn't have the profit or the sales to do so. So I had realized that there was a few things that I was overpaying. There was a few things that I was undercharging. And that was kind of the cost of what was burning me out and taking me down. Or if you're running on chaos, you're feeling like you're constantly burnout, you're losing clients and you don't know why. Maybe you have no structure, you're just like kind of just going with the flow. I mean, I know some people are like vibe people and some people are type A people. That's just your signal that maybe it's time for some solid systems that are reliable. You can scale on them. You can keep yourself accountable. Like I talked about earlier with that client, we pulled our systems on how to deal with an upset client when I'll go even deeper. It was my wedding day and she was demanding to speak to me right when I was about to walk down the aisle. I can't talk to her. I'm not going to deal with her. So that's where our systems came into play to properly handle that situation. And then maybe you are wanting to scale if you guys are wanting to open a salon, but you're still running the whole show. I'm going to tell you right now that it's not possible. You have to be able to work on your business and not in it. I still see clients myself, but I have drastically reduced the amount of clients that I see to be able to make it make sense. If I were still behind the chair like 5 days a week, there's no way that that salon would stay running, that my team would stay happy. So it's just something like a reality check, unfortunately, of if you're wanting to open a salon, you have to know that you need to learn to delegate, release control. It's a little hard because it took me a long time to learn that too, but be able to be present for your team, be present for your business, your marketing, all of that kind of stuff can start slipping if you're still in the business. So hopefully we kind of flip that in that next hour or this next hour, that when you rely on hustle and reaction, you work for the business, right? So that's just what I want you guys to take away with this one. Now, to kind of get into pricing and like I said, you're kind of like bleeding money. I took a long time to realize this myself that I didn't know where all my money was going, but this can help you get clarity. It's predictability. You have control over your business and your services. Um, Clients are a little bit less confused because I was realizing when I was still charging by service, like as a lash person, and you have 2 week volume fill, 2 week classic fill, 2 week hybrid fill, all these different options, people were getting confused. They're like, I just want lashes. I don't know what I want, but I just want lashes. So we kind of simplified and we just have our full set option, our standard fill, and our extended fill. We do offer a mini fill. It never gets booked because we worked on our retention, but it's easy. The client can come in, it's the same price. We have our set time standards to know how we're servicing them in that time period, and they can get whatever they want. So we've even put like extra time gaps to account for the pricing. But with this model, you're actually profiting off of every single minute. So, and I'm going to break that down of how 30 minutes can cost you a lot of money, or even 15 minutes can cost you a lot of money. So we're also not charging based on our competition. Another little raw moment, I just had a lash salon open 2 doors down from me. So that's fun. This just happened like 2 weeks ago. So what they're doing though is they are telling our competition, or they're telling our clients, they're telling other people, they're posting online that they are cheaper than us, to come to them because they're cheaper. Why that doesn't work and why I'm not worried. Yes, yikes, I know I'm a little butthurt, I will say, but I am not really worried because clients, and especially the clients that we service, appreciate luxury. I've looked into their business, and nothing against them, of course. They're just trying to do what I'm trying to do. But they don't have comfortability on their beds. They don't have heating pads. They're working on barber chairs and doing lashes on barber chairs. Um, they don't have the level of marketing that we do. They're not involved with the city like we are because we're part of the chamber and the downtown city group. So they're not a multi-award winning like we are. So there's just a lot of elements in there that don't bug me. And it's almost enticing me to want to actually raise my prices again because I just opened. Because the clients that we look for, we tend to kind of want our luxury clients. We don't want the discount client because the discount client never shows up. The discount client is the one that argues with you and fights you and all the other things. They no show, and we don't want that person in our chair. We want the person who has disposable money, who wants to get serviced and pampered and feel that luxury vibe. And that's exactly who we service. So, sure, they might get the discount client, but they might get more of those no shows. They might get more of those problem clients, whereas we're getting more of the calm, cool, collected clients. So, hopefully, that kind of shows that I'm not going to lower my prices because they just opened to compete. I'm actually going to compete by showing how I'm better in all of those service standards and all of the systems that we're going to talk about today. So one of the systems is our time standards. So what that looks like is that because we're pricing by hour, so if the service is 60 minutes, we need to account our cost per hour and our price per hour to account for that 60 minutes and maybe some wiggle room. If you're going to go up to 75, then you need to actually raise that price because 15 minutes can easily cost you $30. And I'll kind of break down the math. This is my numbers though. So I charge $240 for a full set, $120 for 60 minutes. So if I were to go up to 75, my 60-minute 2 week fill should actually cost $150, not $120. So hopefully that kind of makes a little bit of sense that if you start going over, then that's where you're losing money every 15 minutes and you're eating into your profits. Because if you set your profit at only 20%, I mean, by 30 minutes, you've lost your profit and now you've broken even on that service. So I actually require this for my staff. It's one of the things that we heavily, heavily train on is how to ensure that they stay on time standards because it's maintaining our profit. If we start dropping on those time standards, we're going to see that we actually start losing money and we start breaking even. It's also managing our clients' expectations. So they know that every time that they come in, they're getting the same service in the same time frame, the same retention, no matter who they see. So it creates consistency across the brand. And it also creates trust in the business. So they know that they are going to get whatever they get. every single time. There's no change. I'm not a person who likes change or different things, and it's just going to build that extra trust. So, to kind of break down, feel free to take any kind of screenshots, photos of this if you want. Um, this is something that I break down even more, and I have an actual spreadsheet pricing calculator that you'll be able to plug your own numbers in my program, and it just kind of tells you exactly what to charge. But you want to find your cost per hour first. So this is going to be what it costs you to run your business every single hour. So essentially, we find that by taking our total monthly expenses, including our payroll. So that's going to be rent, buying that toilet paper, buying your lash trays or your hair product color, any kind of, little stuff, education, insurance, any kind of attorney fees, payment plans, all that kind of stuff is going to be lumped into total monthly expenses. The only thing that isn't is going to be if you purchased bulk lash wash, or if you're a hair person and you purchase bulk shampoo to sell to your clients, we're not going to count the cost of that retail product cost. So that's going to be the main thing that isn't included in this total monthly expenses, because that counts as a different category of our business that we're selling that product. So we don't really count it into our expenses. But you will be counting your payroll. And then the other thing that we're not going to count is tips, because tips are not predictable. Our service pricing is predictable, but we never know if we're going to get tips or not, or how much we're going to get. So we don't want to count that into our monthly expenses or anything, or our profit or anything like that. So never include tips. As far as expenses go, for me, I am on payroll. So I have an S Corp in my business, and I pay myself a paycheck every single 2 weeks, and I pay the taxes every single 2 weeks. So I count the cost of my payroll and the cost of taxes into this monthly expenses, as well as my employees' payroll. Then we're going to divide that by the available working hours per month. So if you are scheduled for 100 hours a month, now this is not what you booked, this is just what you have available to sell. And say your expenses are 6,000. Take that 6,000 divided by 100. That means it costs you $60 to be open per hour. And for reference, mine is 100. So we're a little higher with having that payroll. Now we want to find our profit per hour. So the rule of thumb is that we want to add between 15 and 30% profit. I add 20. Some services you'll lose more money on. So for instance, brow waxes, we actually only get like a 5% profit margin. But other services like our permanent makeup, we actually get like 100% profit margin, because I charge $800 for eyebrows. So that's where it's like you want to really focus on selling those high ticket items to make up for the low ticket items. But we're going to take our $60 cost per hour times 20% profit, which adds up to $12 in profit per hour. So that gives us a price per hour of $72. So this means that we should be charging 72 hours for every single hour that we work. Now, once we have this number, then we can kind of find our number for each service. So we can divide this by half if something takes 30 minutes, which I believe is, I will do the actual now on my calculator. So 72 divided by 5, divided by 2. So that means that 30 minutes should cost $36 and 15 minutes should cost $18, right? So that's what we're charging. So if you look at this now under this new number, if your full set is scheduled for 2 hours, you should be charging 144, which is 72 times 2. If you go over 15 minutes, you should add $18. Is that making sense with everybody? Let me know in the chat. Okay, perfect. Yay. Let me know if you have any questions on this, since we're going to kind of go into our next section pretty soon here too. And then hopefully it helps you see that charging low because everybody else does, or charging what feels fair, or being cheaper than the competition actually doesn't serve you, because you have to go off of what your expenses are. What does it cost you as a business to be open? Um, if you're going off of what Susie's charging down the street, her expenses might be way cheaper than you, and then you could end up kind of in the red because you're going off of what she's charging. But this is something again that we dive way deeper in my program. Um, and if you guys have questions, you guys can always let me know. This makes so much sense. I definitely didn't price this way. Yay. I'm glad it can help. Yeah, so if you want to do this, I say like challenge yourself to do the math, like look at all your numbers, go back to your books for like I always suggest too looking at it from a 3-month time period. So if you're going like just off 1 month, it's not an accurate depiction. So we're in October, so look at October's not done yet technically. So if you want to wait till October's actually done, then you can look at your numbers for October, September, and August. So take those 3 months and then find the average cost per hour, like the average expenses from those 3 months, and go off that because things fluctuate. We're going into holiday season. Typically, we're more booked. Um, but we also want to kind of account for our slowest season. What does it cost us during our slow season? Because if we price our services based off what it cost us during our high season, then the pricing might not be super accurate because it can fluctuate. I just did an average of the lowest person priced in my town. Yes, see, we don't want to do that. And a lot of us start that way. And I was guilty too. When I first started, I'm like, I think $80, like I think I was charging $60 for a fill. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I like to get $60, so that's cool. And it wasn't until I did all this math. I actually did the math and I was realizing that where my most expensive expense was my one employee that kept calling out 200 times because I had her on hourly plus commission. In California, you're not allowed to have commission only. You have to have hourly plus commission. And I was paying her so much also for her to never show up to work. It was so frustrating. But she was eating up my money. And I hate to say that because that sounds like really aggressive, but I was losing so much money with her. And when I finally let her go, and then I even looked at my payroll differently and paid my team differently, that was like a massive difference because we were actually able to profit. We were selling hours properly. So it's just like a whole network of looking at your money differently. But I do challenge you guys again, go back to your numbers and look at the slowest 3 months that you have, find the average of your expenses, and then take that cost per hour, add on 20% or whatever profit you want to make. And I challenge you to change the pricing on at least one service by next week. So if that's even your brow waxes get raised or something gets raised, please do, and you'll see the kind of difference. Okay, so when I was solo, I dropped the prices that the salon I was at was charging like 20. Yep. It is the best decision. And the clients do love it. Like they really do love it because it's simplified, it's easy. Okay, so we'll go into the next section of our systems because we need sanity. This is where that chaos comes into play. If we are chaotic, we are stressed out, and we don't want to be stressed out. So when we're looking at what a system is, because I don't know if you guys felt that way, but me personally, everyone kept saying systems to me, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just gonna figure it out. So a system is a repeatable process that allows you to have fewer decisions and less mistakes. It's something that you can rely on. It covers everything from scheduling, client flow, automations, rebooking scripts. I mean, the list goes on and on down to we have a system on how the trash gets taken out. We have a system to how we clean the salon, and it doesn't get broken. Everything's unbreakable, and we don't veer off from that system. But it also just kind of helps you genuinely keep your sanity, especially if you're going to start having a team and start growing and different things like that. So the first system, and if you guys were at my LashCon speech, then you probably already got a hint of this, but this is one big thing that I really believe in is building a high performing day because this is going to help you plan your day out. It's going to help you stay consistent with your clients, stay consistent with yourself, honestly, avoid that burnout. So we're going to put our most demanding tasks during our peak focus period. So that's going to be right in the morning. or a little bit after lunch. We want to give ourselves a break after lunch to kind of like reset and get ourselves back in the mode. But we also want to have like those service blocks in the high performing periods so we can give our clients the best. But we can also get the most out of our time. Then we're putting those low focus tasks during the energy dip. So that's editing that reel, catching up on emails, doing all those kinds of things is going to go in those low focus periods. We want to focus on phase completion. So actually finishing what we're starting, actually finishing posting that reel, finishing the cleaning that we told ourselves that we would do, or the inventory, or the restocking, whatever it is, we want to make sure that we do it and get it done. And I want to talk about check-ins for a second. So if you have a team or if you're wanting to grow a team, the morning check-ins are so, so important. So this is like if we have a couple new clients that day, in that check-in, I'm going to be like, all right, we've got Jennifer, Jessica, whatever, all these clients are names. And these clients are going to be new clients. So let's make sure that we give them a little extra love. We're all going to welcome them. We all have to come and say how beautiful they are. That becomes a system. The check-ins are also going to be, hey guys, we're like $400 away from hitting our retail goal. How can we do that? Like, let's all challenge ourselves to sell one product today. And this really makes a huge difference. And even if you're doing this with yourself, like look at your books, look at your numbers, make sure you know your numbers at all times and challenge yourself. Like, I'm selling two products today because I've got two new clients. I can sell them on a lash wash, I can sell them on a shampoo, and I am going to get two products sold and earn some money today. But this is just going to keep you accountable. It's going to keep your team accountable. It's going to be motivating also because a lot of us, like, if you come in and you come in right before your client shows up, you're slumped in, you're tired, you're not going to be as active into your business as you're going to kind of like things are going to start slipping essentially. So this just helps keep everyone accountable, everyone motivated. And it's a really huge thing that has dramatically helped my business just to keep us all, on communication. We all know what's going on in the business. And we'll talk about communication a little bit later when we start talking about um, leadership, because communication's a big, big one when you have a team. Then we have our KPIs. So everyone's familiar with a KPI? Let me know in the chat. Don't mind me chugging my water too. First time I've heard of that? No. Okay, so we got some newbies. So a KPI is a key performance indicator. So it is the numbers that tell a story in your business. And it's really, really important that these get broken down. It took me a hot minute to really understand these. But when you know what you're looking at and you see things going up or you see things going down, it paints a picture in your business. So one of the things that I kept noticing when I had that employee that was calling out was that our service sales were going up and down. Our client return rate was dropping dramatically because clients don't like someone who doesn't show up to work. They won't come back because they don't trust that you're actually going to show up. You're unreliable, right? But our client return rates kept dropping. Our retail sales were basically only what I was selling because she was never putting in the effort to sell. Our utilization, so utilization is how booked you are, that kept dropping. And then I would notice that because every 3 months I go in and I look at the clients who have not come back to us and I contact them. I also have scripts for that as well, but I'll contact them like, can you let me know any feedback? I would love to have you back. Anything that we could have done better, whatever, here's a discount code to come back. But I was noticing when I was doing that with her clients specifically, they all had something to say. None of them were happy. It was either that their lashes got deep fried from the lash lift, or their retention wasn't lasting, or she ripped off skin during the eyebrow session. And that's where I was like, oh, I have a problem. So the numbers told me the story first that something was up. And then having to do my own investigation, I realized what the problem was, and it was that one employee. So service sales, that's us setting goals every month. We want to make sure that we have a goal that we're striving for. The way that I have my spreadsheet set up is it'll tell you how far away you are from goal. So it'll go in there, and once you plug in your numbers every day, okay, you're 10,000 away. Now you're 9,000, 8,000, whatever. So it can just kind of keep you accountable. Like, okay, I have a week left in the month and we need to still bring in five more $1,000. Then you have your actual. So what you actually brought in, that's your actual tracking. Same with retail sales. We set a realistic goal for ourselves of how much we can actually sell. And we challenge ourselves every month to grow these sales numbers by 100 or 200 or 1,000, whatever it is. Then our rebooking percentage. So this is how many clients did you pre-book that day? Because if this is dropping below, I'd say, honestly, below 70%, if you have a less than 70% rebook rate, it is one of the reasons why you're slow and why your business, why you're still having to try to hustle and find clients. So I really stress a pre-book and retail sales script that gets followed no matter what, because it makes a difference. And the more people that you pre-book, I mean, our businesses are ran off of returning clients. It's so much more expensive to get a new client than it is to get someone to come back or even a referral. So we really want to prioritize, like, that client can't leave until she pre-books. um, then we have our client return rate. So this is going to be how many of our clients are new clients versus how many of them are returning. A good rule of thumb is about 75%. We want to shoot for 80. 80 is a big number. So anything above 80 with any of these numbers is a little unrealistic because people come from out of town. People genuinely just never pre-book. So it's really hard to attain over 80, but we want to strive for 80%. Same with utilization. If you're finding that you have 100 hours available and 80 of them have gotten booked that month, then you are at 80% utilization. Once you hit 80, it is a signal that you can't keep doing this by yourself anymore. Or if you have a team, it's the signal that you need to hire an additional artist or you need to add more hours to your team. Because 80% past that, you start looking into burnout, you start looking into reduced quality because you're tired. So typically when I see that we're consistently at 80% booked rate for 3 months, that's my signal that we need a new artist or we need to add more hours. But if you're only at 50%, 60%, that means that if you had 100 people walk into your business, 50 of them left. Or that's for client return. But still, it's the same concept that you sat there and worked for only 50% of what you're capable of. Same goes with client retention. If your client retention is sitting at 50%, half the room walked out and they didn't come back. So how can we fix that? That's what that number is telling us. But I make sure that I do these numbers every single day. So every day that there's sales made, I track the amount of sales that we made. I track how many pre-books out of those. Like if I had 10 clients and 8 of them pre-booked, then we have an 80% pre-book rate for that day. I'm tracking how many of them were new and how many of them were returning. I'm tracking that if I had 8 hours available that day, and I worked 6.25 of them, I'm going to put that in because that's going to, in the end, give me an entire month's look into what we did. And then we can grow it each month because we can challenge ourselves. Oh, our pre-book rate was really low. Maybe next month we'll focus on making sure that we really push the education and the pre-book rate. But I know this is a lot. Is this all making sense to you guys? Let me know in the chat. Perfect. Hopefully it inspires you guys to really like start wanting to look at your numbers. This is something, again, that in my program, I'm going to give you all of the spreadsheets that I actually use and that really paint the picture for you because it's a lot of like math that feeds into each other. That can help you just plug and play. And then as long as you know how to read them, then that's where it can really paint that picture for you. So I'll kind of show you what my numbers look like. This is my daily KPI tracker. So this is going to be, we had 17.5 hours available. And this is just part of October because October is not done yet. But day one, we had 17.5. We booked 14. We sold 1370 in one day, sold 36 in retail, had 2 new clients and 8 returning clients. So our client retention was 80%. We're working our way up to that service revenue goal. On average, we bring in about, like, we're already up to like 19,000 in October. We want our retail, we want to sell 645. So far, we've sold 577. And then our hours booked goal, we're still, working our way up because these numbers aren't filled yet. But just to kind of give you an idea of like, we want to kind of look for high numbers and different thing and see that our goal is coming up and how we can achieve that goal. Get creative. Like if you're seeing that your utilization is really low, maybe kind of pull out some marketing tactics that you can like do some Facebook marketing, Facebook groups, Nextdoor, different things to try to get some more clients in. Okay. So to kind of run through, again, if you were at my LashCon speech, I kind of ran through some of this too. We're going to dive deeper on the next couple slides, but time-saving system. So this is just things in the business that you can throw in. So that's going to be pre-written client scripts. We're going to dive into that next of how to get people to actually pre-book because I posted that reel and a lot of people were like, this is me. So if you're feeling like you're like, would you want to rebook today? And that's it. We need to do more. So we need to challenge that client to really like, you kind of don't have a choice but to pre-book, essentially. That's kind of how I approach my pre-books. Then we're going to have our pre-filled service notes. So that's going to make our lives just a lot easier. We have a system in our booking software that allows us to just really plug and play the notes. We talk to each other through the notes. So me and my team, we share a lot of clients, like our clients kind of flip-flop between us. So our notes is how we communicate with each other. It tells like exactly what we did the last time, what we talked about with that client so that we can then bring it up as a new service provider. Like, oh, you have a son. How's your son doing? Or whatever. Then flow cards at every station. We have those time standards to keep us accountable. We're going to dive into automations too. I really like the retail grab bag idea because if you've been upselling her during her appointment on the lash wash or the shampoo that you were using or whatever it is, then you already have it sitting there because you know that you already sell this to every client. So you've already got your little retail grab bags like, okay, did you want to go ahead and add the lash cleanser today that I used on you? We have it available for $25. But it's right there. You don't have to go run and get it. You just kind of already have it ready to sell. She's more enticed to buy it. We have those daily team check-ins like I talked about. And then schedule condensing is a really big one because if it costs us $100 to be open per hour, but my employee has a 10 a.m. and a 4 p.m., I have to pay her for the entire time that she sits there and she's not booking. So that's $100 lost, $100 lost, $100 lost. So the same goes if you're solo, if you're having to sit there for hours on end and not actually utilize your time, you're losing money all those hours. Any hour that isn't booked, you are losing that $60 or that $120, right? So how can we maybe, when we tell our client we have something available for her in 2 weeks, I have a 10 a.m. I'm not really going to tell her I have a 4 p.m. I'm going to tell her I have an 11:30 that day. That's my only appointment that day. And then my next client, I'm going to tell that I have a 1 o'clock and so forth and so forth. So unless I know that those time chunks are going to be booked, maybe I will put her at the 4. But especially if you're just starting out or you're still figuring out your schedule, don't tell her about that 4 o'clock because you want to start condensing that schedule early on. Okay. So how many of you guys actually follow a rebook script, or do you just kind of gently ask them if they wanted to go ahead and rebook their appointment? Or do you not ask them at all? Because this is a big important one. So this is something that I really teach my team. Okay, good. You have a script. Perfect. So this is kind of like my script. Some of them will ask, before I was the person in your reel. Oh, yeah. So some clients already know, some are trained. We essentially have to kind of train them over time to ask for an appointment. It takes a long time to get them there, but also some of them we just gently ask and then they pull the whole, oh, I really love them, but I'll just book online later. And then you're like, oh, okay. And then 2 weeks later, you're looking at your books and they're empty and you're stressed out and all that kind of stuff. So the script that I use is this is just the postscript. There's also a during appointment script. So during the appointment, I'm heavily educating her on the importance of coming back every 2 to 3 weeks, why her lashes fall out, why her natural lashes shed, the importance of eye health and eye cleaning, how if she comes back every 2 to 3 weeks, it's going to maintain her results for longer. If she uses this lash cleanser, her eyes are going to be healthier. And I'm going to teach her every nitty gritty detail. A lot of like the new lid device is really popular right now, so that's going to really help all of that. And exactly, like I kind of force them to rebook. I use a loose scripts. Yeah, you can't give them a choice because if you give them a choice, they're going to take that choice and run with it. And then the problem is they're going to go back to their normal life. They're going to go pick up their kids. They're going to go back to work. And then they're going to totally forget that they have to book an appointment. They're going to then call you 2 weeks later trying to squeeze in. You have nothing available for them or whichever. So we really want to focus on giving those recurring appointments. We're telling, we're not asking. But the main thing is that it really starts during the appointment on the education factor. And then it becomes once the appointment's over. Yeah, see, that's stressful, Allison. If they're booking last minute, that's stressing me out. So we are educating, and then at the end of the appointment, like we talked about during your appointment, I recommend getting a fill every 2 to 3 weeks to ensure the look and feel of your new lashes. I always use the scarcity mindset also, like holidays are coming up, so you can use that as an excuse. Um, that, you know, Christmas is coming up, so my books are going to get really filled up. And if you really want the time that you like, I really suggest going ahead and putting you in. And then book out a month worth of appointments. I love that. Yeah. Books. I love that. And more consistency. Yes. So my client, this is a system. I have clients who've been with me for 10 years and they get the same script every single time. It does not get broken because then when I don't do that script or when one of my team members doesn't follow the script, that client then feels like, oh, well, why didn't she like what's different? Like they're going to feel a little left out. So it builds that consistency across the business. Um, and different things like that. And then same with the retail sales script. So as I'm using that lash cleanser on her, I'm telling her what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, and then I'm going to suggest it during her post appointment. Like, did you want to go ahead and add that to your checkout today? It's $25 and comes with a cleaning brush as well. And then I'm going to show her how to use it. We also want to be really transparent on pricing. Same with if you're wanting to do like an upsell and you notice that she is due for a brow wax. You could be like, I did notice that your brows are a little bit grown out today. Do we want to go ahead and add a brow wax? It's an extra $25 or it's an extra $20 when you add it on. Just let me know and I have time for you. So you can add those upsells in there also by kind of following this system. Then we have our automations. Another thing I want to note on this last slide is I'm going to give her, if she doesn't want to rebook, even if she does rebook, I'm still giving her an aftercare card. And that aftercare card is going to have a little section of return recommendation and retail recommendation. So I'm going to put the data for next appointment or the date that I recommend that she comes in and also the product that I suggest for her to use. So that's something that can be helpful too. So as long as every client has gotten that, even if you tried and they don't want to rebook, you're at least giving them something with some kind of reminder at the end of the appointment. And I print those at home. I get little 4x6 cards and I print it on my laptop or my printer and just hand them out. So other things that we want to do is automations. That's going to be our appointment reminders, prep care instructions, thank yous with a Google link attached. That's a big one. Once I did that, our Google reviews jumped dramatically. So that's a post-appointment text like, how did you enjoy your service with us today? Please let us know. And it links directly to Google. But it's also saying too, if you weren't happy with your service today, please contact us at this number so we can help you. Because I don't want people to go write a bad review on Google. I want them to talk to me first, hopefully. But then we're going to have product reminders and follow-ups. So we're going to note that client that bought that lash wash, that she's going to be due for that lash wash in 3 months. So we're going to leave ourselves a note to remind her that she's due in 3 months. And we can set up this in an automation through our booking software that it's going to send a "you're probably running low" text. Or if you don't have this system in place, then you can put it in your client notes. And when she comes in and it's time, like it's been 3 months, then you can be like, "Oh, I went ahead and noticed too that your cleanser may be running low. Did you want to go ahead and add that today?" So that's how you can get that consistency on retail sales. I use Vagaro. So I do have my gripes with Vagaro. I will say there's a few things, but all in all, I really do like Vagaro. I feel like it's got a lot of good automations. The text and email marketing is extra each month, but it is worth it because it's everything organized in one place. It has really good tracking with all the KPIs that I need. So I like it for that. There's just a few limitations on like the marketing standpoint that I don't love. But I do outside marketing with like Facebook and Nextdoor or ads and different things like that, or we really join the community with that kind of stuff. Then waitlist and cancellations. So this is going to auto text your highest. So this is one feature that Vagaro has, that if you have someone on waitlist or you have a couple people on waitlist, it's going to auto text the person who has the most expensive service on deck. And it's going to offer them the appointment first. If they decline it, then it will go down the line. But it's not necessarily like who put in the waitlist first, it's who's going to bring you the most money. So I really like that feature. But again, this is something that I dive deeper in my program with like my actual scripts for during appointment, post appointment, those "you're probably running low" text, the post and pre-post emails and texts, all of that's kind of in there so that you can just kind of plug and play your business name and kind of just take everything that I have for your business. But I do want to challenge you guys before we get into the next section of leadership is pick at least one of these things if you're not doing it already and implement it this week. So on top of implementing finding your cost per hour and raising your price on one of your services, I want you to also pick one automation and set it up. I would say my favorite is the little Google post text review because it really amplifies your Google reviews, which amplifies who sees you and who books with you. Do we have any questions on this section before I move on? No, I'm not seeing any come in. Okay. And we might go a little over 11 o'clock. You guys are welcome to not hang out, but I just want to make sure I give you guys a lot of information. So when we're talking about leadership and we're talking about becoming, for any of you that want to become a salon owner, or even if you just want to hold yourself more accountable, it truly starts with you. I had taken a long time to learn this, that I was really guilty of control issues. It came out a lot. I recently got married and my control issues came out hardcore with the wedding. But I've had to really learn how to let a lot of that go when it comes to the business. Because if I want to be a true CEO, a true leader, I have to allow my team or honestly pay people to do things for me because there's no way that I can be a one-woman show anymore. So if you're consistently that one-woman show, you are burning yourself out. You're not serving your business. You have to be able to get help. For instance, putting this entire program together and just all the back end stuff, I hired help. There's no way that I can do it all myself. I've hired help in the past to, put out ad generations. I've hired help to do all the things. I use my employees to help me with product development, product testing. Their job is not just to be a lash artist. Yes, so staying till the end for the class is because I have a almost $300 off discount codes for the 5-week program. So if that's something that you're wanting to join, you can either DM me or we'll probably send it out via email, the code. The code's only going to work for until midnight tonight. So if the program's something that you're interested, just keep in mind that code to get the money off will only work until midnight. But back to the leadership thing. So scaling also doesn't always mean hiring. So if you want to stay a solo artist, that's great. It doesn't mean that you have to go and hire. It just means that you're building standards for yourself. You're building a culture within yourself and your business. If you have a team, you're relying on that culture because the clients can feel the culture in your business. And you're welcome. Thank you so much for coming. And you're also building the habits now so that future growth is easier. So essentially, if you set the right standards for yourself now, if you eventually one day want to have a team and want to have a salon, then you can totally do that. But the goal is to build that foundation, and learn to lead yourself, learn to delegate, release the small amount of control. Again, like me, I had to take a lot of work for that, and then remain accountable with those systems. So really utilize those systems in your business. So fall back on the automations, fall back on the rebook scripts. When in doubt, just follow the script, right? So, to kind of look at what the formula is essentially is it's working as a machine. Our business needs to run on clockwork. It needs to run as a machine. How we do that is we start with clarifying and defining our pricing, like we talked about. We want to create an unbreakable schedule. So we're doing that time scheduling, the time standards. We're ensuring that our schedule stays consistent so that we stay consistent. We have a predictable lifestyle rather than a chaotic lifestyle. It's going to give us financial clarity because we want to make sure that we understand our numbers. We know when it's telling us a story and we know when to change things. Then it helps us then to lead by example in those standards and those values and practices. Our clients will catch on to those standards. We can set standards like every client gets tucked in, whatever that is. And then we hold ourselves to that. And clients, then will start to notice the consistency. They're going to come to expect it. They're going to appreciate the customer service behind it. And they're going to want to keep coming back to you because of all of these little touches that you do. Then you can then scale all of this. So once you have an understanding of everything, then that's when scaling comes into play. I don't recommend just diving straight into hiring employees. Definitely do your research. Know all of these things before doing that because it can be pretty overwhelming. And I made the mistake early on with that first employee who never showed up to work was I failed her in a lot of ways because I didn't know how to lead by example. I was chaotic in my own brain. I would make promises that I couldn't keep. So all of that, we just don't want you falling into those footsteps. But this is something that just know that each step supports the next. This is how you can then scale your business, how you can grow your business. Or if you want to just stay where you are, that's amazing too, but it's going to give you clarity on your finances and hopefully be able to start allowing you to save money, start investing money for your future, because you actually have a savings to back up your business, which is huge. So to talk culture, culture is huge, even if it's just in yourself. But this primarily ties to a lot of like team kind of concepts, but the culture is how every client feels when they walk through the door, how your team members feel when they walk through the door, how your team members behave, how you behave, and how your salon runs. If you want a well-oiled machine salon, you have to train it to be one, right? So same with if you want your clients to feel warm and cozy and welcomed, that's your culture. So it's your values in your service. So how can we kind of hone in on what those what those values are, what our culture really needs, and how can we hold ourselves accountable to not deviate from that, not get lazy and kind of be like, oh, well, I don't need to keep tucking them in anymore. They'll be fine. They can tuck themselves in. No, because that's one of our systems. Every client gets tucked in. That's the culture that they come to expect. It's why they come back to you. It's why they recommend you to people like, oh, she tucks me in and it's like the most amazing thing. So all of that, it's how you do anything equals how your business does everything. So remember that when we're talking about leadership, and if it's something that you want to create a salon and have staff, you have to be the role model. You have to show up early if you want your staff showing up early. You have to clean a little bit if you want your staff to clean for you and start implementing that. You have to lead by example. Even how you talk to people. If you're dropping F-bombs with your clients, your employees are going to be like, oh, Well, I can drop F-bombs too. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we're leading exactly how our salon wants to be, and we're also educating our future team members on top of leading by example. And to talk about trust for a second, how I kind of related to I was failing my team members, I lost their trust, in turn, meaning that I lost their respect. They no longer respected me because I was not accountable. I wasn't keeping my promises. And it caused our culture in the salon to crumble. Every kind of room felt like this dark little cloud that we were all living in. And it was the drastic shift that when I let go of all those girls, and I can acknowledge that it wasn't all on them, it was partly on me too. But when I knew and had clarity on my culture and the team that I wanted to create, I was able to hire based off that culture, based off those values, pick the right people because I knew what I was looking for. And on top of that, I mean, you walk in and the salon feels light and airy, and everybody's motivating each other, and we're all complimenting each other. Um, we're laughing together. If you look at my page, you'll see that we have like ridiculous videos up there. So it makes a huge difference in how you show up every day. Um, and sometimes it's hard that you're having a bad day, and that's going to happen. But if you can really try to push that you're having, push that you're there for your girls or push that you're there for your clients, it's going to make a difference. And then clear communication also. So communication is huge. Again, this was something that I failed on with my team. Communication just shows one that you trust your team. I actually tell my team now the numbers. So my past employee that kept calling out, she would see me go to lash events. She thought I was genuine. Like she would see that I would tell her like, okay, our goal is to bring in 20,000 this month. She genuinely thought I was putting 20,000 in my pockets. I wish that'd be really cool, but no. So she genuinely had this mindset that, oh, well, she's just taking all that 20,000 for herself, not even thinking that a lot of that 20,000 was going to rent and going to paying her. She made more than me, right? Paid her more than I did. So having that clear communication with your team and your numbers makes a huge difference. So now I tell my team like, hey guys, our profit's like not really that great this month. So can we really push to bring in a little bit more? We have a goal now of getting out of our current space and getting a bigger salon, and everyone's on the same page. We're all wanting it. And it's like, okay, if we can save like 5,000 a month, that goes straight to like getting us out of here faster, So we all have an end goal in mind. And I'm really like letting them know that if we make a couple extra thousand, here's what I'm going to do with it. And I don't have to tell them everything, but I'm at least letting them in so that they feel a sense of ownership over the business and a level of respect for the business too. And then just what you say you're going to do, please do it. Don't follow in my footsteps where I was being sloppy with that myself. Um, so what I want you guys to do as far as an action item is make sure that you like write down at least one value that you want your salon known for and start implementing that system. If you want to start tucking people in with a blanket when they lay down, start implementing it and hold it accountable. Write it down so that you know that that's a system book. We have our employee handbook that has all of our systems laid out in there. And some other like little hacks for culture growth is making sure you're doing those morning check-ins either with yourself or with your team. Team rewards are huge. So I'm actually going to be taking my girls out to a luxury salon soon, and we're going to all go get luxury massages because they have earned it. And on top of that, I'm giving them a quarterly bonus because they get a quarterly bonus, 4 times a year. And that's going to be a profit share of I think we're at $6,500 in profit for October right now. So they're going to get a share of that in their bonuses. And I have that all scheduled out and, mathed out. But that just is keeping them, it's like, I appreciate you for your hard work. It can be dinners, it can be gift cards, handwritten notes. Sometimes I'll bake them cookies, I'll bring them coffee, different things like that. I'm regularly educating. So we're teaching them for a 2 to 3 week period when they get hired. And then on top of that, we're doing, on the go coaching. So if I see them not following the rebook script, after they're done with that appointment, I'm gonna be like, remember, we have to say this, this, and this. Or if I'm seeing them do something different during the service, I'll step in and be like, maybe try this instead. This will help you. And then on top of that, we're doing monthly mini trainings on a variety of topics. I also invest in outside education for them pretty often. I would say every couple months. We're creating that safe space. So if my employee doesn't feel confident or anything, or if my client even, I mean, my girls, they come up and just talk to me and tell me how they're doing. We always check in, how are you doing? You know, it's not just about work here. We have to make sure that we're mentally okay to be at work. And then I'm giving them opportunities for growth. If somebody wants to be a manager, if somebody wants to be an educator, they want to teach the new team members. My one girl manages you can see Peyton right here. She manages our social media. So she's really good at social media. She really loves it. So I kind of gave her lead on all our social media. I also gave her lead on all of our tiny tattoo services because she tattooed her entire arm. Why not give her that opportunity? And then Kate here is my manager. She loves to manage and she loves to help. When I hired her, she wanted to be my second-hand man. So I gave her that opportunity, and I'm going to continue to give opportunities for growth as time goes on. Okay, so as we kind of get towards the end here, um, even if you guys are solo, hopefully this helped a little bit and hopefully you got some good valuable takeaways, that this mindset can really set you up for growth and freedom. I want you to pick something that you can do today, change a system, change your pricing on something. Really think about your leadership skills and what you want to represent for your business and a possible future team. Get clarity on your numbers and start kind of breaking down what a KPI is and how to really understand those KPI numbers. And just like really look into just little small improvements that you can do over the next couple of weeks that can really help your business and make a change, right? So to kind of, if you guys have stayed till the end, thank you guys so much. I'll kind of dive into what the program looks like. Yeah, clarifying your numbers is key. How do you approach price adjustments if you realize the numbers? Um, so my last price raise, I actually raised some people because I had some people who were on a classic price and some people were on a volume price. My volume price stayed the same, so they didn't get affected, but my classic clients did go up about $30. So it was a big jump. And I just informed them that now they can get whatever service they want for the same price. So if they ever want to go up in volume, they can. I gave them about a month warning. So I kind of respected their time as well. I'm not just going to throw it on them. And I just broke it down like what to understand. So like I'm like, I know it's a big jump and I appreciate you for your business, but also at the same time, if she doesn't come back to you, that's okay. Because you're going to find someone, you're going to find other clients through your pricing. I do want to emphasize that if you're going to be raising your pricing with a big jump, add something else. Add a heating pad, add a tucking in service, add some kind of other free value to your service to make it worth it. Because a lot of the times clients don't necessarily care about pricing. They just want more value, right? So just think about it in that term. I think when we raised our prices, we remodeled our entire salon. Of course, then it flooded, if anybody followed that along too, which was great. But we remodeled our entire salon. And on top of that, we added, salt lamps, Himalayan salt lamps. We added different kind of music, a calmer energy, the heating pads, the blankets. We just really upped our value so that they were like, oh, wait, this is nicer. I kind of like it. And they didn't mind paying more. But if you guys are here till the end, so I've been kind of teasing my new program, Chaos to Clockwork. This is something that I'm going to be putting out in December, and it's going to be every single Monday in December, where we dive deeper into everything that we just talked about. Designed for any kind of professional, future salon owner, solo artist. If you just want clarity on your financials, clarity on your systems, knowing how to kind of set yourself up for success, then this is definitely something that would really help you. Like I said throughout this webinar, I have been in your shoes. I've been lost and burnt out. Employees who called out constantly. The glory of all this is we actually profit $5,000 a month. Even after our salon flooding, it took us down for about 2 months, but we bounced back instantly because of our systems. So even after being closed for 3 weeks. But it's really just refreshing to have a team behind you. If that's something that you want to look into, this would be a great program for you. or if you just want to be able to learn how to hold yourself accountable. Um, but yeah, basically why I'm stressing to go home and at least implement something is because without action, this just becomes theory, right? We need to take action in our business. Um, the holidays are a perfect time to do that. I always recommend if you're going to take any kind of action or raise your prices, do it right now. Don't do it in January. You're going to hurt yourself by doing it in January because December is our most high performing month. Why not maximize our profits when most people are in demand for our services, right? So if you're going to take some kind of action, do it. I really encourage it. I'm here to help if you have questions. A look inside what the program looks like is that we have all of this that we're covering each week. So we're going to go into clarity with our chaos audits. I'm going to help you guys kind of understand where things are chaotic in your business. We're going to look at different systems. I'm going to give you guys all of my scripts, all of my marketing materials, everything that I send out to clients, you guys will have. Week 3, we'll go into our pricing systems with the profit formula. That's where you will get that template of how to actually price your systems or price your services. So it'll be you plug in your cost per hour, you plug in how much time each service takes, and it'll tell you exactly what to charge. So you don't even have to really do the math. It's just right there for you. And then week 4, we're going to go into automations and consistent cash flow with a sales engine. So this is kind of looking into marketing tactics. I really utilize Facebook groups and different things like that. So I'll give you all the marketing materials on how to go about that, how to go about client referrals, basically everything that I do in my business. And then we'll finish off with wrapping it all up with leadership and culture building and how to get long-term freedom in your business if you want to scale. But after this, we'll take questions. If this is something that you're interested in, like I said, you can use the code Clockwork on my I'll put the link in the chat too. But this code only works today only. It will end at midnight. I'm only taking on 15 students because I want to make sure that I can give you guys enough of my energy. If only 10 people sign up too, that's great because then I can give you guys more of my time, but you'll have direct coach access to me. I think I'm going to do through Voxer so that you guys can just message me whenever and I can get back to you. It'll be 1 hour small group coaching calls every Monday, same time at 10 a.m. PST, starting on December 1st. So the goal with this is that by January, you'll have all the systems in place that you can kind of reset your business for the new year, see the numbers change, hopefully get yourself 10,000 more profit a month because it is game changing. And then I will give you guys my salon systems guide. I have that available on my thing right now, but if you sign up for this, don't buy it because I'll give you that too. It's just kind of a little guide. But like I said, all-inclusive KPI tracker, pricing clarity, pre-book and sales scripts, objection scripts. So that's when people are like, oh no, I'll book online. We'll help you with that too. And all of that stuff. So if you guys have any questions, I'm going to drop the link in the chat, but any questions based off the webinar, put it in the chat, or if you guys want to go on camera, that's fine too, and I'll kind of help you out. This in. Let's see, I've got 2 screens too, so I'm trying to. Okay. Any questions based off what we talked about though, because I know it was a lot of information. I'm kind of hanging for a second. I'm so excited, Allison. Yes, Allison's going to be signing up, I think. So, of course. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate you guys listening. I really hope that it was helpful, hopefully motivating and encouraging. I'm also going to be sending out the recording. So if you want to kind of go back and like get any of this, I'm going to save the recording and then send it to you guys via email. But any questions, feel free to reach out to me via DM on un_stripped.academy. Feel free to tag me in anything if you guys took little photos of me. Hopefully it's a good angle. But feel free to reach out anytime if you have questions. I know that it can be kind of stressful to like raise your prices or change your systems, or it can get overwhelming. So I just want to kind of help you guys not be in the positions that I was early on because I was always stressed out. So if I can help you guys not be stressed out. All right. So I don't think any questions. So we'll kind of end here and yeah, just reach out with anything. Like I said, the Clockwork, what's it called? Oh, my brain farted. The Clockwork discount code on the website expires tonight. So if this is something that you're interested in and you're wanting that program, you're wanting to really dive into your business, I heavily suggest using it or else it will go back up to 850. And the doors will close until October 30th. They'll reopen on the 30th through November 10th at 850. And then once they close, because then we're going to get right started into our services. I also have payment plans available that are pretty flexible, so you can kind of choose your payment plan. It can even be 12 month. Um, and yeah, you guys will get everything. But again, thank you guys all for being here. I really appreciate you. Um, and yeah, we'll kind of close off here. So let me stop my sharing if I can. There we go. I'm not used to two screens. Okay, thank you guys. Bye.